Senator Blumenthal, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Shop class is good. I don't know about in the era of AI, artificial intelligence, how many shop class enlistees there will be, but maybe the nature of shop class should be changed. I want to engage in kind of a thought experiment. I'm the CEO of Electric Boat. As you know, Electric Boat in Connecticut makes the most capable and reliable submarines in the world. And if you look at employment patterns at Electric Boat, they have mountains and troughs. The reason they have mountains and troughs is that the Pentagon often changes procurement requirements. We want 2 submarines a year. No, Virginia class, we want 1 submarine, maybe 1 plus the Columbia class, plus, you know, if you're a manufacturer, pretty hard to engage in recruiting, hiring, training. Training involves investment when those procurement commitments are changing. And just to mention the elephant in the room, right now we have no budget for this fiscal year. So the Pentagon is kind of scratching its head and saying, okay, we think we know what the budget's going to be. Chairman Reed has done extraordinarily skilled and excellent work in passing the National Defense Authorization Act, which provides a basic contour for what procurement should be, but the money has to be approved. To what extent does this indecision by the Congress and by the Pentagon, indecision and reversal of decisions, affect the ability to recruit, train, and hire a workforce like Electric Boat?
The workers will go somewhere else. They're not going to sit around and wait for us to get our act together. They have families to feed. So unless we can really maintain the continuity of that production pipeline, which I agree we desperately need, we will struggle to retain.
And the prospect of that, even the prospect of potentially not knowing. So the idea of not knowing, employees are voting with their feet. So even if you have the employee, they're currently working in these industries, this level of indecision gives them a anxiety that will often lead them to come to the private sector, because they're like, at least there, I kind of know what I know.
Senator, I completely agree with where you're going and what my colleagues just said, but I would also remind everyone that the V12 Merlin engine that powered the Spitfire and the Hurricane in World War II and was decisive for keeping Germany out of Britain started to develop in 1929 before there was any public procurement guidelines for that engine. There was a private sector innovation, Senator, and what you really need in this country is not just better organized procurement exactly as you're wanting. You need people who are pushing on the innovative frontier for the new stuff that Pentagon's doesn't even know they want yet. Right? And so how do we incentivize that? How do we encourage that? How do we build the skills? And I think the shop class has never been more important, Senator, because I think losing those manual skills, losing our thinking with our hands is a huge disadvantage when we think about the world. Because the engineers who built the Merlin, who built the Spitfire, who built the American effort in World War II were very hands-on people, weren't they? They understood how to bend metal. And that's the key to a lot of these innovations that we're talking about.
You know, I think what you're saying about shop class, which is not just what happens in the classroom, but the manual skills and the instinctive approach to how to put things together and make them work, that's what Electric Boat is trying to hire. The welders, the electricians, the pipe fitters, people who are skilled at the trades. And not only in shop class, but frankly in high school, I think we need to do a better job of selling people, future workers, on the idea, you know, you can have not just a job, but a career, a real career, making a lot more money than, let's say, my 4 children. They were all educated at liberal arts institutions. 3 of them are lawyers, like me. But there are a lot more lawyers per person maybe than there need to be, and we need more of the folks who can do the work at Electric Boat with the careers that really provide not just financial gratification, but real dignity, the dignity of work. You're nodding, so I assume you agree.
Dr. Lockwood said it already, sorry. Dr. Lockwood said it, I totally agree. Dignity and status and purpose, but you've got to also pay people good money, right? Because people have to live, and that's a question of how much you pay them relative to what it costs to live in the areas that you're trying to develop. But if you get that right, which we have done in this country before, Senator Blumenthal, and you've got very strong, obviously, places in Rhode Island and in Connecticut that also get this right, then we can do incredible things.
Senator, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
go
Mr.
ahead.
Taylor.
Yes, I would just submit to you that we oftentimes talk about and believe that our talent pool must come from the K through 12 system. We increasingly have that middle group, that middle 45 to 55-year-old who is now displaced, wants to work. You want to talk about dignity of work. And so many of our training programs disproportionately focus on young people, and that's good. But we're ignoring that there's a significant swath of the population that is available, wants that dignity of work, needs to do it, and we don't provide reskilling and upskilling programs from the government, frankly, to them. We'll give you Pell Grant all day for the kid, but what happens to that 45-year-old whose job has been significantly changed on the account of technology, and they could become a welder, but themselves don't know how to do that and don't think there's a pathway to that. So I would not ignore that significant portion of our population that wants to work but doesn't know how to reskill.
I thank you all for your insights. And by the way, Chairman Reed and I have just come back from a trip to Ukraine. And the Ukrainians are taking what seem to be often very low-tech drones. And because they have those manual skills, they're able to reconfigure them, I don't know what the technical term would be, and make them lethal. Now, they still need arms, they need support, they need the resources. They are sadly lacking, and we need to give it to them in the supplemental that's now before the House that we passed here in the Senate. But they have been extraordinarily innovative and creative because they have many of those manual skills. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator